Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Talk PMA.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. So today, Allie, we're going to talk about sportsmanship and how that is affected as players and learning how to respect yourself and be a good sportsman, not sportsmanship, but just sportsman. It's all part of sportsmanship, right?
I guess, if that's how you want to say it. Yeah, I mean, sportsmanship is very different for different sports, but it should be like the same concept all around. And I think that a lot of sportsmanship comes down to having like self-respect. You respect yourself and you respect your teammates, your opponents, you have that mutual respect for everybody around you.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of kids that they don't understand what sportsmanship means. Either it hasn't been taught or they're above it, or it's just not a concept. And, like we said, respecting ourselves in the manner of you're going to treat other people like you want to be treated, right? And being a good sportsman means that you're going to cheer your team on. You're going to be that encouraging person. You're going to do that for others because you in turn want that done for yourself as well, right? And so when we are good sportsmen, even if it's the other team, maybe they got hurt. You've seen when other people have gotten hurt on the field or in the court or whatever in the game, and everyone takes a knee or everyone's quiet or whatever. That's being a good sportsman because you're respecting that other person, whether they get hurt or there's something happened. It's just showing respect for the other person.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's the same thing as when we give high fives after games, or you help up the person who you knock down. Like it's just a respect for each other, because games, like the sports we play, are games and they are supposed to be competitive, but they're not. We're not in like before time where everyone played game, like when people played games and stuff and like sports, quote sports, to like hurt each other and to like be the last one standing. That's not what sports are about. It's about just like healthy competitive competition that is really good for people to stay in shape, to stay active, to just thrive in an environment like that. And so that's why sportsmanship is so important, and I don't think it's talked about enough about what it actually means to be like a good sportsman or woman.
Yeah, it's definitely something that is, I guess, learned, and taught. We naturally did it with you guys, to just say, hey, when someone is hurt, when someone, you always show that respect. And I guess, you learn, part of this today was to learn how to respect yourself in the same way. And how does being a good sportsman create that self-respect within players? I think it's just mostly, it's that positive feel good, right? And so you're respecting others, and it's going to turn around and it's going to come back to you. And we want to create that space where respect is known. It's just a natural thing. So if I respect you, you're going to respect me. I'm going to feel good. That's going to make me feel good. I'm going to in turn help you to feel good too.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I kind of want to use this example. This happened in one of our games like last week or something like that. But we were playing this team, and one of the girls on the other team, she's a very good player, but she's not a very good, doesn't have very good sportsmanship. And so one of my girls was guarding her, and this girl was dribbling and decided to place her hand on my girl's forehead. Like, if you play basketball, a lot of things that we do when you're working on dribbling or working on moves is like touching cones. And so it was a very disrespectful moment because she decided to lay her hand on her head as if she was a cone, and then take one more dribble over and hit a three in her face. And one, it's super disrespectful for the opponent to do that. If I had a player do that, they would sit on the bench because that's not acceptable. There's no reason to do that. And two, my player didn't do anything about it. She just let her disrespect her. And that's where it comes to the point where you need to have self-respect. Because if someone's going to disrespect me like that, I am not going to let it fly. If that was me in her situation, I would have, without the intention of hurting anybody, I would have put her on her butt. Like, she would have not made the three, or if she did, she would have at least fallen because I was there. You know, like, I would have never let anybody try to disrespect me like that. And that's because I have respect and pride in who I am as a player, that I'm not going to allow another teammate to do that, or another team to do that to me. So that's where it's like, it's a very two-sided thing where you have to have the respect, like enough self-respect to not let things like that happen. But at the same time, the girl who did it was also in the wrong, because that's super disrespectful, and that's not what the game is about.
Yeah, I mean, it bugs me, I guess, not bugs me, but it really hit me when you were like, I wouldn't let that happen. I wish she would be on her butt. You know, I'm not sure if I can say that that's the right thing to teach our kids, to be aggressive. Yes, you have to make sure that they are not allowing that, but how do you go about it without being physical? And
But that's the point of the game, though, is physicality. And
no, but
the point of why I say she should have put her on her butt is because she chose to stand there and do nothing, and then she didn't prove herself on the other side of the court.
And that's
that's why, if you're going to do something, if you're not going to prove yourself on the other side of the court, you need to do something. You can't just stand there. You can't just let it happen. You have to have enough respect for yourself and for your team to not let that happen. So that was the point of all of it. And I'm not saying go and hurt her. I'm not saying, like I was saying before, I was not saying to hurt her, but I would have contested the shot. I would have fouled her, not in the ways of malicious, like not a malicious way, but in the game of basketball, to be physical, to not let something like that happen.
Yes, I agree 100% with that. Yeah, if someone's going to challenge you and be disrespectful in that way on the other end, then you need to show up for yourself. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, and that's one of those things, you just got to get that fire inside you. It's that, hey, you're not going to do that to me. And, then that when you get that fired, I don't know, sometimes if you're not into the game, sometimes if you're really not want to be there, that fire is not going to be there.
Well, and sometimes I just don't know how to have a fire.
Yeah.
Like, there's just people like that. Like,
yeah,
like a lot of times, especially like basketball is such a hard sport because it's mental and physical. And you have to teach how to have a fire and how to be aggressive, especially for girls. We have to teach them how to be aggressive. And so sometimes when teaching girls how to be aggressive in basketball, you have to kind of tell them to do the most. So then we can be like, okay, now this is how aggressive you can be. Now take it back a notch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Never in the ways of hurting anybody. That's, I would never, ever tell someone to hurt them, but I will tell my players to be aggressive, to, dive on the floor, to like take someone out in like the ways of basketball, and like bodying them, because basketball is a physical sport, but not in the ways of hurting them. But if you can go above and beyond, now you understand what it takes to be physical. Now we not know how to do it without fouling, without actually, without hurting anybody, which the point of it's not to hurt anybody. But a lot of girls, you have to tell them to go above and beyond for them to even get a little bit more aggression in it.
Well, and it's mostly, stand up for yourself, stand up for yourself and say, hey, you're not going to do that to me, and I'm going to go prove that you can't. So on the other side of the court, yeah, you're not going to push me around. You're not going to disrespect me. I'm going to block out. I'm going to check your shot. I'm going to, put my shot, right back in where, you can't contest me. So showing the kids how to be more aggressive and just showing up for themselves and their team, that's huge. And, that fire is learned with the love of the game. So no matter what game you play, if you learn to love the game and this is your game, then you're going to show up for yourself. You're going to show up for your team. You're going to show up for every part of it. And that fire starts building because you love the game so much that you want to be the best at it. So therefore there's that fire.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard. And it's so hard because sportsmanship can be such a fine line sometimes. And I see it a lot in all sports, like the trash talking, the, after the whistle, like continuing the play, like just like little things. And you see it in every sport. And it's hard to find the fine line because sometimes you're so passionate, you are so fired up about the sport that it's hard to take a step back, especially if someone's disrespecting you, and so it is such a fine line. But I think overall, if you have that respect for yourself, it makes it easier. But you have to understand that you need to respect your game, who you are, and why you are there, and the team that you play for. And you need to have that respect for yourself and for your team to be able to stay within that fine line of sportsmanship and not sportsmanship.
Right. I mean, I see, teams or people that will just say stuff and trash talk just to get in your head. And once they know that they can, then they've got you.
Yeah.
So it's learning to, if they're going to trash talk me, fine. But that's it. Once you have that thought of letting them get into your head and they've said something that's triggered you, then they've got you. Yeah. So if you can learn to ignore them, if you can learn to, bypass it or give it back to them, and give it back to them in a way that shows that you're showing up for yourself, then their trash talk is never going to touch you. Because all of a sudden you've learned that it can't touch you. Like if I don't have a thought about what you've said, and I know that you're just saying it to get in my head, then it's never going to touch me.
Yeah.
But the moment that I'm like, oh yeah, I do suck, or I, can't do something, or my girlfriend, or whatever it is, once they get in your head, they've got you all day long.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a really hard thing to deal with as a coach too, is because like sometimes we'll have the girls come in and they'll be like, oh, well, they're cussing us out, they're saying all this, and it's like they are literally doing it to get in your head because you have already gotten to theirs.
Yeah.
And it can get so, like, I struggled with that for a long time because I would get in their heads and they would be frustrated, but then they would start, you know, stepping over that sportsmanship line, you know, to go above and beyond. And then that would frustrate me. And then
Mm.
that's when they would get into my head. And then it's just a consistent battle. And who's going to win?
Yeah.
Nobody wins at that point. But it's just, you know, if someone else is in their head, that's when it's like the outside influences. You have to focus on who you are, your game, and your team. You can't focus on what they're saying because they're only doing it to make you get in your head.
Mhm. So that movie that Adam Sandler's in is called The Hustle. Yeah, or Hustle. Is a great example of that. Like, he worked with the guy that was overseas. He wasn't a great basketball player. He just found him on the street and brought him back to try out for the NBA. And another player on another team that was also trying out and got in his head a lot. And by the end of the movie, he had taught him how to, not let him do that. It's a great movie, especially for this.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely recommend. I remember when I watched that movie, I just was like, this is so great. You know, just it's so real. Like, the whole movie is super real. And I know that the guy who was the basketball player is an actual NBA player. And so it's really cool to see him kind of go through it. Um, but it's really relatable too.
Mhm.
So definitely go check that movie out, especially if you're kind of wanting to see it in action and how Adam Sandler helps him get through it. um, but just something relatable to watch for sure. It's really cool.
Yeah. So just, when you're playing your sport, just understand that there's going to be people out there that are going to try to get in your head. And if you let them, then they're going to take your game down. So do you want to play and have fun and really have that fire and passion about your game? Or do you want to let people run over you and therefore letting yourself not feel respected and not feel good? Then you're getting in your own head as well, and you're just taking yourself out. And once you do that, then your game is shot.
Yeah.
So learn how to, or figure out how you really want to be in your game.
Yeah.
Do you want to be the best that you can be, or are you just playing it to play it?
Yeah. And I mean, you don't have to be the best player or have the best skills to have that self-respect. You should always respect your skills, and you can know, and you might know, and it's good to have the knowledge of, I am not the best player, but I do work hard and I do practice and I am passionate and I am here. And that's good enough. And you can respect yourself enough there. And even if you know that the person you're playing against or the team you're playing against might be better than you, still respect yourself enough to go out and give 110% and not let them do the little things to disrespect you or to get into your head. Because as soon as you let them get in your head, you've lost the game and you've lost your own self-respect. So just keep that in mind and just think about times that maybe you lost your self-respect, or times that you let the other team disrespect you or let their non-sportsmanship affect you and how you play the game. And think about how you could have reacted differently to it, how the results could have changed, everything like that. Because everybody in sports should just absolutely respect themselves, whether they're better than the person they're playing against or not.
Absolutely. But then, you can also turn it around. If someone's showing you disrespect and not being a good sportsman, what if you just turned it around and, showed them how to be a good sportsman? Like, just really like, hey, good shot, or whatever it is. that you can turn the whole situation around and show them, hey, there's a different side to this. I'm not going to get to them, but at the same time, they're not disrespecting me. They're working hard, but they're also cheering me on.
Yeah.
And so what does that do to the other person? It changes their perspective of things, and they are in turn start respecting you because you haven't let them get to you. You're not angry at them. They're not able to get into your head. So therefore all they can do is start respecting you for your decisions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Respect your opponents. Absolutely. And I mean, I do it all the time. I will absolutely say, good shot, good move, whatever it is. Like, absolutely. You should, that's the name of the game, is just complete respect. There shouldn't be the disrespect, but sometimes we just get a little too passionate, a little bit too excited about what we're doing, and we kind of forget the point of the game. And it's to have fun, and it's to learn, and it's to, just compete against other people, other players, different kinds of players. So absolutely respect your opponents. I love being like, hey, that was a great move. Like, you got me on that. And that's okay. It's not bad to say that to someone. The people you're playing against, it's not. Say that again.
It's creating another relationship. It's a different relationship. You're still going to play hard against each other, but at the end of the day, at the end of the game, maybe you've created a new friendship. Maybe you've created a new, camaraderie that you didn't have before.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to hate the people that you play against.
No.
I mean, you want to win, of course, but you don't need to, it's not a real rivalry where, like, if you lose, you die, that's not how it works. Like, it's just, dang, we'll get them next time.
Yeah. And it's almost more fun when you can be like, hey, I know that person, or hey, we had a good time last time because we kind of smack talked each other, but we did it out of respect, just because we had the fun of knowing we could kind of get to each other, but did it in a way that was almost fun, and made us work together even more, and against, just trying to do a different perspective on it.
Yeah, and it's really cool too to, like, see people that you played with, played against, whatever, see their successes too. Like, I have some friends who play, like, D1 basketball, and it's really, really cool. And D1, actually, a couple different sports, and so it's really cool to see their successes and to be able to be like, hey, I played with them, I played against them, or I'm friends with them, like that kind of thing. It's really cool to watch the successes and to be able to, be like, yeah, I competed with them. So it's really cool when you're able to have it, like, a friendship like that. It's not as fun when you see people who you hated playing against or playing with, like, had no respect for each other, weren't friends and stuff, and then you see their successes and you get jealous and, angry that they got that. So just respect each other, and if you become more successful than other people, like, that's awesome, good for you, but don't lose their respect, because they competed and they made you who you are, what player you are. And the same thing, you helped other players become who they are and how they play.
Yeah. Cheer them on. Be their challenge, but be their positive challenge for them and for yourself as well, because it's going to make the game better. It's going to make your life better, because you're going to know how to deal with it and to create a different relationship rather than just an angry relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching. Just remember to stay respectful of yourself and everybody that you play with or play against. It'll help you become that elite athlete that you are wanting to be. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe below. Check out our website. Go get yourself some workbooks. We have had some really, really good feedback from all of our workbooks. People are loving them. And so it's time for you to get yours. Go get it now. And don't forget to like us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're everywhere. And let us know if you guys have anything that you're struggling with, or topics that you guys would like us to cover. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.